Hello, welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. Today we're going to do another board game unboxing. And this is going to be the first in a series of many unboxings, which we're going to do for Shadows of Brimstone. It's a Ameritrash game, and it's a dungeon crawling game, dice rolling, adventures. Your characters level up. You have different parties, different adventures. And the cool thing about it is it comes in, right now, 3 core boxes with many expansions with other worlds in them. So you can combine and mix and match the to do scenarios and campaigns or whatever you want. Town adventures in between the campaigns. So lots of customability and flexibility and all that good stuff. So that is what Shadows of Brimstone. So the first video in our series is going to be on, as you can see here, City of Ancients. This is a game by Flying Frog Productions, designed by Jason C. Hill. They're out of Washington. And they've done other games you may be familiar with, such as Fortune and Glory, which you can, I don't know if you can see it, it's up in the, we have it up in the corner. You can see it right up in there. That's it right there. We haven't done a video on that yet, since we got a used copy of that. They've also done Touch of Evil, Last Night on Earth, and a few others I can't seem to think of at the time, but all with similar type mechanics, yet very unique games. So anyway, this is Shadows of Brimstone, the revised City of Ancients revised edition. As you can see, it says Old West horror board game for 1 to 4 players. You can play it. It's a cooperative game when you play it together, or you can just play it solo, which I'll probably be playing it both ways. Recommended ages 12 and up. And as you can see, there's a couple of extra cards, which were bonus cards that I got out of it, which I'll show you later on when we get to the cards. But this is a game that like I said, I bought all 3 of the current core boxes, City of Ancients, and the Swamps of Death, I think it's called, Swamps of Death, and Forbidden Fortress. So those are the 3 core boxes that are currently out now. There's 2 more coming out within the next year or 2 with recent other Kickstarters. But anyway, we'll just get into this right now. I'm getting a little off track. But this is the revised edition of the City of Ancients core set. So without further ado, let's take a look at the back of the box. Very heavy box. So see how close I can bring it here. So, all right. So I'll read a little bit about the back here. Let's see. It is the mid-1800s in southwestern United States. The small mining town of Brimstone has struck it rich when they discovered large deposits of a new precious mineral called darkstone up in the hills. It has magical properties, is rarer than gold, and is incredibly dangerous. In a flash, the town of Brimstone is consumed, the epicenter of cataclysmic supernatural explosions, ripping open portals to other worlds down in the mines, unleashing a great darkness to spread across the land. New hordes of demons pour from the mines to ravage the countryside, and the sky grows black in swarms of nightmarish creatures. A few brave souls step forward from a posse of heroes to hold back the darkness. So that's something that's a recurring theme in each game. There's what's called a depth track, which is a darkness track, and you're always trying to, at the end of each turn, you roll to hold back the darkness, and it's like a track you have there. So Shadows of Brimstone is a fast-paced cooperative dungeon crawl board game in the Old West, mixed with an unspeakable horror. Each player creates a character or characters, take the role of a classic Western hero archetype, such as, and these are the ones that are included in this core set. There's 4 of them: the Bandito, the U.S. Marshal, the Gunslinger, or Saloon Girl. Forming a posse of heroes, the players take their characters down into the mines in the foothills surrounding the demonically overrun town of Brimstone. The heroes can embark on a variety of different missions, from finding and sealing a gateway to another world to rescuing a farmer's son who was hauled off at night by a horrible creature. The heroes explore dynamically generated mine, a dynamically generated mine, overcoming dangerous encounters and fighting savage creatures while collecting up useful gear and ancient artifacts to help them during their adventures. Heroes can even find portals to other worlds, stepping through to continue this adventure on the other side. Hero characters can be kept from game to game, so you can level them up and keep them from game to game, in a campaign system, earning experience and going up levels to increase skills and gain new abilities. The heroes also can visit a local frontier town between adventures, spending their hard-earned loot and resupplying for their next mission. So load up your 6-shooter, throw on your hat and poncho, and gather the posse. The darkness is coming, and hell's about to break loose in the Shadows of Brimstone. So there you go. So this right here kind of shows you an idea of the different map tiles that you're going to put together for your dungeon. Different creatures you're going to fight. Some of them here. And there's tons and tons of creatures too, and tons of characters you can get too. And then here, as you can see, it's just a list of the contents that are in it. So lots of stuff. So anyway, without further ado, let's open it up and see what's inside. So this game has miniatures in it, which you can paint if you want to. You definitely have to assemble them using super glue or a mono glue, but you also have to, you can paint them if you want to, which I've never done before. So anyway, so here we go. This has been a long time in coming. I've had it for probably close to a month now and haven't opened it up yet. I did a big order from the Flying Frog Productions website, as well as some from Miniature Market. Game Nerds also has that. So here we go. All right. So voila, let's put the box back here. So definitely, to start with, to show you here, these are the miniatures, which are all kind of like on whoever built a model, like a model car or a model airplane. Comes on these trees, which you gotta basically assemble. And they've gotten better in the revised set. You know, these are plastic, I think. Some of them come in resin. But basically, you're gonna put them together. You maybe attach an arm to a body or a head, or you know, put a gun on or something like that. And then you put them on these bases right here. So these, looks like this one is your gunslinger possibly. But and it's got little guns and different other thing. I think that's the back of the Bandito, his hat or whatever. This might be the Bandito, actually. Actually, it might be all 3 of them. 3 of the 4 characters. Actually, I think it is all 4. That's the Saloon Girl. Looks like you have your gunslinger, I think the U.S. Marshal, and that's the Bandito. And they come in male and female versions. There is a, can't think of the name of it, but there's a character basically a base, whether it's a male or female, and the Saloon Girl, of course, is a female, but there's also a male version called the piano player of her. I can't think of the term. There's a term which is like the default for the character, whether it's male or female. I can't think of the term for that though. But anyway, But I did get those, as you'll see. Eventually, we'll unbox the alternate gender of the character, too. All right, so here is probably one of the... Not sure exactly, but it's one of the monsters here. Which you're going to put together. And then here are the rest of them, all in this right here. I won't go through each one of them, but... yeah, they are there. So lots of stuff to put together. And this is the guide to putting together the different characters in the monsters. So you have your Saloon Girl, you have your U.S. Marshal, Gunslinger, and then Bandito. Well, the hat actually goes on him, I guess. And then you have your some of the monsters: Stranglers, Void Spiders, Tentacles. And then this is the boss monster here, the Goliath, and a Night Terror. So there you go. So it's just an assembly guide. And again, this is a lot easier. As you can see, the Saloon Girl looks like she comes in all one piece. Before they came in like 3 or 4 pieces at least. And look at the Gunslinger, you just got to put his gun in the arm and gun on him. And then the Gunslinger, just his hat. And then you got to, of course, glue him to the base. Bandito's probably the most difficult one. But even that's not so hard. So, the Tentacles are very easy. Stranglers are pretty easy. Goliath's a few steps there, but not too bad. And the Night Terrors. So those are the monsters that come in the base box. You can get many other monsters in enemy packs and expansions and stuff. So here you go. Here are the 2 die right here. You get 2 of the die. So you have what's called a peril die, which is a D6 die, but it starts at 3, and I think it's just 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I think there's 1, 2, 2 3s, 2 3s, 2 4s, a 5, and a 6. So that's a peril die, they call it. And then you have your standard, D8 die for special weapons. Most of the dies are going to be D6s. I will find in here somewhere. Here we go. So these are smaller than I thought they'd be, but these are your D6s. So red for the enemy and white for your heroes, generally speaking. And you can buy custom die for each of the characters too, which have a instead of for the 6 on each of the dies, it's kind of like the symbol of the Gunslinger or the symbol of the Saloon Girl, that kind of stuff. But those are a little expensive. Those are like $35 for a set of, I think it's 8 die. So for now, we're just gonna go with what we got here. We don't. There's enough. You can spend enough money in this game. Don't need to spend extra in die. Although eventually we might. Who knows? All right, so there are the die. Basically, you're going to be rolling a lot of die in this game. And again, Flying Frog Productions. So, Spring 2020 product catalog. So, this is the Last Night on Earth. It's a zombie game. We don't have that one. We have... yeah, these are all the expansions for the Last Night on Earth. And we just got... yeah, more or less... Invasion from Outer Space. That was the only space game. Touch of Evil. We just got a good deal on that one. We get Touch of Evil with Something Wicked expansion. We don't have the Coast yet, but and we got a couple of the one of the hero packs, I think, and a few of the card packs in a recent sale they had. And more Touch of Evil stuff. This is the 10th anniversary edition. We didn't get this one. It comes with all these little minis and plastic tokens and stuff, but we didn't get that one yet. We didn't think it was necessary. Conquest of Planet Earth. And then here's Shadows of Brimstone, of course. Some of the other expansions. We have the Caverns, which we'll be opening up in another one. That was probably the hardest one we got so far. The hardest to get since it's out of print. So we had to pay a little bit more on eBay for it. Tradera we're still trying to get. Derelict Ship we have. Blasted Waste we're going to unbox eventually. And Frontier Town, which is an excellent expansion, we're going to get eventually. The Allies pack, which we got that first actually off of eBay and dipped them. So they came out pretty good, I think. So those are allies, basically. Each of the heroes the heroes can have like kind of like a companion, or you can hire out like somebody to help you out, or find somebody to help you. And then here are some of the enemy packs in here. And a lot of enemy packs, as you can see. And there's more than this. This is just as of 2020. Then here are the mission packs, which we have all of these. Feral Vampires, the Hellfire Succubi, Lost Army, Black Fang Tribe, Werewolf, whatever. Order of the Crimson Hand, like a cult type thing. So we do have all 6 of those. Again, we'll get to those unboxing eventually. And then here is the newest core set that came out a couple years ago, which is Forbidden Fortress. And paint sets, which we got. And expansion for Fortress Temple of Shadows. Some of the enemy packs here, and then another Otherworld, the Forest of the Dead. And this is a card version of Touch of Evil, I guess. Dark Gothic, we don't have that one. And here, Fortune and Glory, which I showed you that we have, which is a cool game. We got one of the expansions for that. There you go, Flying Frog Productions. All right, so here are the your heroes right here. So basically, this is the anatomy of a hero sheet, kind of a stat sheet. I think the highest it goes for these attributes is 4 base attributes, and I think the lowest is 1. So the gunslinger is slightly above average agility, cunning, average spirit, strength, and lore, and then very good luck. And so basically, this basically tells you how many dice they're going to roll to do dice checks, stat checks kind of thing. Initiative is the order you go in battle, so it's a very high initiative, so he'll be one of the first to go. And then any abilities that he has, so he has the ability of Quicken the Dead, uses a 6-shooter template, so which we'll show you. It's like gets special bullets, which add damage to Deadeye. They call it, base ones are called Deadeye shots. And then right here is to hit. So basically, whenever you're rolling, so he has a combat die of 1. So on his base weapon, you just roll 1d6, and you have to roll since a gun is a ranged weapon, a 3 or above to hit. And then after you hit it, you have to roll a d6 to do damage. So, yeah. And then melee, he's not too good at melee. He has to roll a 5 or a 6 to hit on melee. So if he has a melee weapon, he will do that. Probably we'll get one for him for a backup, but basically he's not very good at it. So now these can change too. You can get equipment and everything, or artifacts that can modify these stats and everything. Maximum grit. Grit is like a currency you can spend to do things like re-roll or prevent certain cards from being applied. And basically they compensate bad movement rolls. Like when you roll, every character at the beginning of the turn is going to roll a d6 for movement, and if they only get a 1, which is they can only move 1, then they'll get another. They can they'll get what's called a grit to. And there are other ways to get grit too, but that's one of the ways. So basically, here's his 2 main stats. I mean, 2 main things that are for damage are gonna be health and sanity. Basically, sanity is for horror hits and stuff like that. So he's not very good at recovering his health. So basically, when a monster attacks him, he's gonna if the monster hits him, he's gonna get a chance to defend, and he'd have to roll a 5 or 6 on a d6 to successfully defend. So that is not very good. Sanity a little bit better. Basically, a 50% chance of 4, 5, or 6 on sanity. So he's a little bit better at that. But he's kind of like a free spirit and a wild shooter. Good, decent offense, but he hits really well. But not very good defender. So again, and we got a laminator, which we're going to laminate all these cards because it's a card. So this is the male version of it, and then on the back is a female version of the gunslinger. Basically, all the same stats. but there are certain monsters like the succubi, which have different stats that have either bonuses against male or female characters. So there's a little bit of gender thing there. All right, so here's the U.S. Marshal. So as you can see, his agility is average, cunning, so he has a little bit higher cunning than the gunslinger does. His spirit is the same. Again, average strength. His lore, not much lore there. And he has a little bit above average luck. So he has initiative of 4, so he's a little bit slower than a gunslinger. And his ability is a double shot. So once per turn, when you kill an enemy with a shotgun, you gain +1 shot with that shotgun. So basically it gives you an extra shot if you kill an enemy. And then he has, oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, the starting items for the gunslinger is a pistol. Starting items for the marshal is a shotgun and his badge. Basically his badge gives him a special power once per adventure. I think all the members of the party get a special power too, once per adventure. So that's the male marshal. And then you have your female marshal here. There you go. So again, so on the back here, his range and melee are both basically 50% to hit on either one. He has 2 combat dice, so he rolls a d6, and his max grid is 2. So, okay. And these can be modified by having different weapons too. So health is 10, and sanity is 10. So sanity isn't as good as the gunslinger, so pretty average amounts there. He is much better though at recovering from wounds, as you can see, or so defending wounds, I should say. 3+, so that's over 50%. Basically 67% healing rate there. Only a 1 and a 2 he doesn't heal on. Doesn't block a health hit. Sanity, average 50%. Okay, Saloon Girl, she's excellent at dodging, so she's got a high agility. So she's able to dodge a lot of the attacks, which is excellent. Cunning, a little bit above average in spirit. Not much strength, though, which you would expect. So strength below average, a lore average, and then luck a little bit above average. And she has initiative of 5, which is right in between the gunslinger and the marshal. So she has an ability called Comforting Presence. At the end of each turn, she may heal 1 wound or sanity damage from each other adjacent hero. So basically, you want to have her near your other heroes so she can comfort them and help them heal. So she does have a starting item called the Hold-Up Pistol, which is the only, I think a small pistol is the only type of pistol she can use. And that Hold-Up Pistol, I think she can use once per round, I think it is. It's either once per round or once per fight. I can't remember which one, but anyway. So this is basically just an unboxing, so we're not going to really go into all these cards and abilities and everything. Just wanted to give you an idea what's in the box. So she has a 50% chance to hit on range and melee. Very low health, though. But, again, she's able to dodge at a 3+, so she, like the U.S. Marshal, are very good at defending against health there. And she has actually the same thing as the Marshal for sanity blocking. She has more sanity than any of the heroes so far. She has a 14 sanity, which is very good. And she mentioned she has 2 combat dice, and she has a max grid of 2. So her counterpart here is the piano player, which is the male version, which I've yet to see anybody play in any of the playthroughs I've watched, but there's a possibility of that. And then you have your Bandito, which is, you know, he's an outlaw type. He has average agility, not much cunning, a little bit above spirit, excellent strength, which comes in handy when you're throwing dynamite and stuff. So whenever you throw like an item like dynamite or bombs, you want to have a strong strength. Lore, a little bit above average, and luck just average. And he's pretty slow. He only has a 3 initiative, so he'll go towards the end of the sequence. end of the turn. So his range attack is not very good at all. It's a 5+, so he doesn't hit very well with guns. He's actually better at melee with the 4+. He has 2 combat die and 2 max grit. Does have very good health, though, of 16. Blocks about 50% of the time. But pretty bad willpower rate to block any horror hits. They're only a 5+, and only 8 sanity. So that's where he's more likely to get knocked out, and he's more likely to go insane with that. And then you have your female Bandito, which is a Bandita. And let's see, right here. So his ability is basically a wild card. So he has a card, like an Ace of Spades. You may recover a grit on a move roll of 1 or 2. So he's got a more chance of getting grit, which is always helpful because you'll definitely be re-rolling a lot of these hits, especially these, and if you decide to use guns, those right there. And then his starting item is a pistol. Okay, so that's it there. Now you have your monster cards, and I won't go through each one of these. I just basically show you the anatomy of one of them. So this is like a boss monster. So basically you're going to have your initiative, so you're going to be comparing his initiative to other initiatives of your heroes, and they'll go in order from highest to lowest. So he has different, so this guy has different abilities right here. Again, if you want to read it, I'll show it here, but I'm not going to read each one of them. So he doesn't have any ranged attack, and basically hits melee 50% of the time. So this move right here means how far he can move each turn, so he's got a move of 6. And escape, this is what you would have to roll if you're engaged in combat and you want to try to escape him. So you have to roll a 4+ there. So he'll basically he'll roll 3 combat dice, 3d6s, and for every hit that you can't block, he'll do a damage of 3. So definitely, if you're a level 1 character and you only have like 10 health, 3 hits could pretty much do you in. Now defense is what you have to subtract. So after basically you roll to see if you hit, you got to roll for damage. So say you roll the damage of 5 against him, you have to subtract his defense of 3. So if you roll a 5, you have to subtract 3, which is 2, so you'd get 2 hits of damage on him. So basically he starts off with a health of 18, plus 4 per hero. So if you had a party of 3, a posse of 3, that would be, each hero would be 4 plus health, so 4 times 3 is 12, so he would have a health of 30 going into the battle. And again, he's a boss monster, so you're going to fight him at the end of the adventure. An elite chart basically is if they're an elite monster, so you have low, medium, high, and then elite, and they'll get elite abilities here. So you're basically going to roll for that, depending upon how many they have at the beginning of the turn. So if that wasn't enough, they also have a brutal side, which you only want to fight once you get a little bit higher level. So you can see the health starts at 36 plus 6. So in this case, for a party of 3, posse of 3, it would be 6 times. It's still 6, yeah. No, 6. 6 times 3 is 18, so it'd be 54 health. So definitely a lot harder, and these elite abilities are harder too. And they also have a size too, which I didn't mention. A size for the monster, and there's also keywords on here, which I didn't mention when I was going over each one of the heroes here. They have little keywords right here, like they have outlaw, and you can get others as from gear and stuff. But basically, keywords have to do with different cards that come out. And if their keyword, like if keyword demon came out, and you would have to add like different stat cards to their abilities. Basically makes them tougher and everything. He's also a void monster. So this is another one, a Night Terror, which is a basic. He's a demon, and he only has 1 ability here, which is you have to roll for horror hits every time. And then initiative 3, and then he doesn't have any range either, melee, and he rolls 4 combat dice that should do a damage of 4 apiece. He's not quite as tough. And then this XP right here is XP you get each time you hit and how many wounds you do, you get XP per wounds and everything. So there's gonna be a lot of record keeping you're gonna have to keep hold of. So if you have a good app, or you can use Microsoft Excel or just a piece of paper to keep track. There's a lot of stat keeping, a lot of busy work in this game, which I like. And elite abilities, if they have any, are right there. And then again, he has an elite side too. Voila. Okay, another one, Strangler. His initiative, his size. So he's a demon also. And then his to hit, his combat, damage, and health, etc. Elite chart. So we'll get more into these as we once we start doing playthroughs on this, and I think I'm definitely gonna start. This will probably be the first game I'm gonna do a playthrough on. But once I get set up and get my new laptop and everything, I'm gonna be doing playthroughs on this. Okay, and then here, Void Spiders. For some reason they don't have any. I might add one here just to give them an ability, because what kind of spiders do you know that don't have any type of webbing ability? So I might give them like a webbing ability to do some damage or something like that, just to make them more interesting. Because a lot of these monsters in this base set are a little lackluster and boring, so might spice it up a little bit. They are pretty fat. They do have high initiative though, and they move quite a bit. Not much health. Only 2 combat dice. And again, they only do melee attacks. Again, you put elite abilities here on them. And then here is their brutal side. And they're a beast and void are the keywords. Tentacles, again, pretty boring, but they have a smash ability, which is can be pretty brutal. Very slow initiative though, just a 2. And they are just void creatures. And there's their hit, combat, damage, and health, elite chart, and then there's their brutal side. And then here's the other world, which is the target area. So you have your mines, and you have your other world for the base. This base set is the Targa other world. It's like a cold, frozen wasteland. And again, these are stationary; they don't move. There's pylons that shoot like laser beams. They do have a lot of abilities there, and they only have a ranged attack. And their combat and damage is based upon our right here, the laser. So they have a range of 12. You only get 1 shot, and just damage of 2 if it hits you. So there you go. And these guys right here, there are what's called a crit. When you shoot against somebody, you can do a critical roll, critical strike. And if you do a crit, it basically bypasses this defense right here on most normal creatures. But in this one, since he has a strong ability here, if you do a crit, it basically only lowers its defense to 2. Whereas with other creatures, it would totally bypass their defense. But this guy would, his defense, in other words, would be halved. Okay, the elite chart. And there's its brutal side right there. So that's all your base monsters and heroes in the core set here for City of Ancients. Let's see here. And then it's just a couple other things in here, which I'll get to the cards lastly, I guess. So you have your adventure book right here, revised edition, which is going to go through and give you a little backstory here of the game, story of Brimstone, map, mission list. So you're going to get, I think it's 6 missions, 6 basic missions, and then 6 advanced missions, I think. Traveling, how you travel in between missions, towns you get to visit, the different hero classes and how you level up. And then each one of them, 4 basic characters here, the U.S. Marshal, the Saloon Girl, the Bandito, and the Gunslinger. And then you have your miniature gallery, which shows you basic examples of how to paint them, which we do have a paint set for this we purchased. So we're going to try our hand at painting. The different enemy overview there, the target plateau, which is the other world. Comic strip based on the game. Painting guide, travel hazard chart, which you're going to encounter different hazards as you return to town after your adventures. Mutations, you can get mutations in this game by getting a certain amount of corruption. So the Darkstone causes corruption. So if you think it's 5 is the base, I think if you get 5 corruption, you end up getting mutation. And mutations can be both harmful and hurtful. And helpful. So they aren't always bad. And glossary and your back blank character sheets. So we'll just flip through this. Basically, it's a pretty thick booklet. Basically, here's your backstory of Brimstone. Some really cool black and white cover art here. Black and white art, like little wanted posters and stuff. Pretty cool. And then here's basically the Brimstone area. And you can also play this too. There's a mode, I can't think of, Hex Crawl, I think they call it, where you can basically tie a bunch of different adventures together, which is kind of cool. So here are the missions. So you have basic missions and you have City of Ancients missions. So basically your basic missions are fit for a few Darkstone more, exploration, seal the void gates, search party, escape, and blow the mine. And those are pretty basic missions are basic. In fact, all the core sets are basically have the same basic missions, unfortunately, which thematically are maybe a little different, but mechanically they're all the same, what you do in each one of them. Which is a little disappointing, but whatever. There's plenty of other missions in here. And then you have your specific ones to City of Ancients missions. Terror in the Night, Stop the Ritual, Last Stand, City of Ancients, Overload, and Frozen Expedition. So if you've ever watched any of the Shadow of Brimstone videos, especially the ones on City of Ancients, you've probably seen for a few Darkstone more quite a few times. It's probably the most common one that people play. So anyways, mission features. So basically it's going to describe each one of the missions. Here are the missions for a few Darkstone more. And you can set them to varying difficulties, which is kind of cool. So you can try them on, small, medium, and large. Seal the void gates, search party. So yeah, so it just describes each one of them and how you set it up and everything. So it's pretty cool. And then here's some more artwork, which is cool. There you go. And so here are the enemies. Terror, and then actually these are the 6 City of Ancients missions. So these have the Dark Terrors there. Stop the Ritual. And then this one has a map setup. So a lot of them you're going to be generating a map, but this one has a pre-made setup. So you're going to have a little bit of table space. It's probably the hardest thing about this game is finding the room to put it all together. And this one has its own laid out map. And you can see the crunchiness of the new booklet, which I love. That's like the back cover, I think. And then City of Ancients right here. These are the target plateau ones. So you get pylons, which we don't have that enemy yet. We have to get. And Frozen Expedition. And then I think it's going to be visiting a frontier town. So in between missions, you go to a frontier town. And that's the basic one. There's also a frontier town expansion, which you can have small, medium, and large towns, and they're thematic towns. This one's kind of just a generic town. And traveling salesman kind of thing. End of the day, what you do. So here's some more artwork there, which is pretty cool. And then hero classes and leveling up. So basically what you need to level up. So you're going to need 500 experience to level up your character. And then whatever you spend on that goes away, and then you're going to need to get 1,000. So it's not just you go from 500 to 1,000. You got to go from 0 to 1,000 again to get from level 2 to 3. So it gets increasingly hard. But again, you get more experience as you fight, bigger and badder monsters and stuff. And you're going to be getting other gear and stuff too, which is going to make you stronger. And then here's your hero posse level. So depending upon what your level is, you're going to get what are called... it tells you basically what the enemy should be in certain fights. that kind of stuff, depending on how many people you have in your posse. And then here's the U.S. Marshal. And then basically when you level up, you're going to roll two D6s, and you're going to get certain stats based on that. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing in here, but these are all the different trees. They're basically like tech trees. They're advancement trees. And the saloon girl right here. Again, they're up there. Bandito. And then his chart there. And the gunslinger, and then his level up chart. So he's got different types of bullets, is one of the trees you can get there. And then here are some examples of the heroes painted. So you can kind of use that as a guide. There's other more specific, these are just enemy overviews right here. There's going to be a separate painting guide in here too. So, and here's the comic. Go. And the Indian he's in the other the swamps of death expansion there. You're gonna get an Indian type character, and then you're gonna get a preacher in the other one too, which is cool. And here's basically a painting guide. So we got these painting sets right here. We've got all 3 of these. So these are just basically guides on how to paint your minis, which will be an adventure for us. So we might not paint them at first. We might wait, play a little bit first, and then paint them. This will take a little while. And then here's your travel hazard chart, which is a basic one, which there's a more extended one in the Frontier Town expansion. This one only goes up to D18. So you roll 3 D6 and you add them together. So it's only like 15 or 16. 16, I think it is, things which get old after a while, so it'd be nice to open that expansion after a while. And a mutation chart, so these are different mutations you can get, which again can be hurtful or helpful. There you go. And then glossary of terms, facts and clarifications, and then some extra blank charts if you want to print them out, which I'll probably do some of these just because as your character gets different stats, things are going to change. So unfortunately it doesn't have the picture in each one of them, but you can probably find a way to add a picture to that. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these. I might just use a piece of paper or do it on the computer or something like that. I do have an app on an iOS app that is kind of a little bit generic, but I think it'll serve the purpose of putting all my characters in it and recording the experience. And there you go. And that's it for that. And there's a couple more things now. It's just basically, there's a couple of things. So again, this video is going to be a little longer. It's probably going to be about an hour, so bear with me. So this right here is the rulebook itself, rulebook revised edition, and it kind of goes through all the tokens, what they're used for, what's in the box. I'll show you there, and then how to use the cards and everything. So card types, gear types. That's like map tiles, all the different map tiles. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to that. This is definitely going to go over an hour, I think. And then creating a new hero, how you do that, what grid is, each one of the characters here, a little background to them, different shots that the gunslinger can use. And this is what you're going to see too, is his 6-shooter here, which is going to have 6 Deadeye shots on it, which add +2 damage for hits. And that's basically like a table space, what it's going to look like, and that's just your starting tile in the middle there, so it's going to get a lot bigger than that. All right. Your darkness depth track, which is very familiar with Flying Frog games. They use them in all their games, pretty much all the ones I've seen anyway. So if you're familiar at all with any Flying Frog games, that'll be right at home with you. And then a game turn, hero activation. Basically how to do combat, line of sight, that kind of stuff. When you're losing, getting KO'd. So when you get knocked out, when you lose all your health or all your sanity, you get knocked out, and basically you have to be revived, and you can roll for an injury after that. So just because you lose all your health or all your sanity doesn't mean you die. And you can always be resurrected back in town also at the end of your adventure. Different types of damage, types of hits, healing, corruption, mutation, random hero skills. So basically it's just, goes through everything. Side bag, you can have a certain amount of, these are side bag tokens in the basic game. There are others that other expansions will add. Other types of markers. There's tons of markers in this game. Basically this is the anatomy of an enemy card, which I went over a little bit. That's basically everything there. And then your threat cards and peril die, which I mentioned a little bit before. And basically how to set up enemies, how to, during fights as regular attacks and as ambush attacks. And how to basically put the enemies. Different cards. So yeah, so that is basically it right here. Again, a lot of stuff in here. But we've been watching tons of these videos, so I feel like we almost know. And this is a good reference thing on the back here, or a nice reference summary. And then this is if you throw dynamite. If it hits, you're good, and it all these numbers around it basically means it affects all those enemies around if you hit. But if you hit but if you throw dynamite and it doesn't, you don't get the strength roll you want, then it's going to bounce, and you have to, then you have to roll a die to see how many times it's going to bounce. And depending upon what you roll on a D8, it's going to bounce in all these directions. So you don't want to throw it anywhere near your heroes just in case you miss, because it basically causes damage to heroes as well as enemies, so you got to be careful with that. But yeah, there you go. Whew. And I'm not going to go through each one of these, but these are just the different... this is an injury chart. So basically when you get injured, if you have to be revived, you're going to get an injury, which you can get carried back at town by the town dock, frontier dock. So there's different types of injuries. And we're going to laminate all this stuff. And this is a monster chart. A madness chart, sorry. So if you go insane, if you die of insanity, then you're going to get one of these madness charts. Madness afflictions. So Frontier Town, basically, this is visiting Frontier Town. So this is if you visit you can either stay in a hotel or a campsite. This is the campsites are more dangerous. Hotels are a little safer, but you got to pay money. Not much, but a little bit. I think like $10. And then on the back here is your town events. And right here is your town event charts. So the longer you stay in a town, the more chance there is of getting having a town event happen, and they're all pretty pretty bad. So you gotta be careful with that. And then here are the different types of places. You can visit saloon. So basically, first thing you do when you go visit a certain place in the town, you're gonna roll a location event. So again, good and bad, or nothing. Low numbers tend to be the bad stuff. High numbers, the better stuff, and the middle numbers, 5, 6, and 7, or 6, 7, and 8, are kind of like the nothing really much happens event. And then so once you do that, you're gonna flip it over in the back here, and then you're gonna be able to do all this stuff in a saloon. So basically, you can gamble. Pretty much is what you can do. And if you're a saloon girl character, then you get to do special things here. There's special ways you can earn money in the saloon. They're pretty cool. And then this is the general store. So again, the events, different basic tokens you can buy. You can buy all these side bag tokens, and then other items you can buy. And then if you're nothing special in here. So you have to be certain keywords in here. Like this one shows frontier or traveler only. This one's outlaw or traveler only. So you have to be certain keywords in order to buy certain items too. As you can see, these are really expensive items, so you won't be buying a lot of this stuff right away. It's going to take a few adventures. And then here's the Frontier Outpost. So again, you deal your events, and then the items you can buy. And you can get Darkstone, basically. You can sell your Darkstone, and you can also get it attached to different items. But again, each time you go into a town too, though, between adventures, you have to roll for corruption on the Darkstone that you carry. Unless you get a special container, you could get corruption from your Darkstone. So here's the dock office, which you're going to be visiting a lot. So to cure injuries and whatnot, and to get rid of the corruption. So if you roll low on this one, it's a good chance you could possibly die, or you get minus rolls to getting healed right here. This one we're going to be doing a lot of. That's how you treat corruption. And then here are different bandages and stuff you can buy, the doctors, and different things he can do for you. And church. So again, your daily events. Your exorcism madness. So if you go insane, this is where you got to go to get revived for insanity, or if you have a condition, insane condition. And then if you get basic, you can also get corruption wound here, and you can get resurrected. And in the back, if you're a preacher, or if you're holy of some sort, like a preacher or something, you can buy like a Bible, a special Bible, crucifix, whatnot. Yeah, so there's different things in there. And a couple more things. Blacksmith, get equipment and everything. Again, you can roll your events. Get Darkstone attached to your items. Buy like armor or weapons. Get Darkstone bullets, which add damage basically. There you go. Upgrade equipment too. And then this is basically your town, what it looks like when you go in your basic town. So you stay at the hotel there for $10 a night. And then what you can do at the different stores, and gives you a little summary kind of what each store does. That's the campsite, which you don't really want to stay there unless you're really low on money. And then here's your daily event too. So basically if you stay 2 days, say it's your second day, at the end of your second day you have to roll a die and get above a 2. So if you roll a 2 or a 1, then it's going to be a town event, but if not, so it gets more dangerous the longer you stay in the town. And then once you have an event, it resets. So yeah, so there you go. And then in the back of this is the depth event chart, which is when you're in the mines and everything. You're going to have, if you roll doubles, you're going to have certain things happen. Doubles are not good generally unless you roll a double 6. Then you're going to be able to heal. But in the mines, when you're rolling for darkness, you do not want to roll double, basically 1 through 5s. And again, the lower is usually the worst. A double 1 is an ambush attack. You move the darkness track higher and stuff like that. It's just different bad things happen. But nothing here is good except for double 6s. And then this is if you're in the target plateau, you're going to roll a different one, which is kind of similar, and again, 6 is the best, roll double 6s. But again, you want to generally stay away from doubles other than double 6s. So there you go. So there's the depth chart there. And then you have a CD, which I'm kind of curious to listen to. Basically, you're supposed to play this in the background when you're playing a game, which could be interesting. I don't know if I'll do it when I'm on YouTube recording, just because I don't want to get flagged. But I guess I could mention that it's part of the game and list it, so that way I won't get flagged for it. But yeah, so there's the game soundtrack. Kind of interesting to have. And yeah, definitely, we still got the tiles to go through, but so these I'm going to go through really quickly. Again, there's a lot to this core box, so I don't mind spending a little extra time on it. And here we go. So basically these are the tiles you're going to have. So let me separate these. There's a lot of them. All right, let me see here. Okay. So I'll separate. There's the mine tiles. And then there's the target tiles. So basically the mine tiles consist of basic rooms. So there's going to be rooms that have certain encounters in them. If you play in the advanced, sorry, it's a little dark in there. You get what's a special room, so they're going to have a special encounter card to go with it. And there's usually 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 6, 7. No, maybe more. 7, 8. Actually, it's 8. And those all have special encounters assigned to them. Now the numbers up here are basically the encounter cards are going to have different numbers of doors on them. How many exits there are out of the room? So it's going to have 1, 2, or 3 exits out of the room. So you're going to roll to like close off doors and passageways and stuff like that. That's why the numbers are there. And the green arrow is basically what you attach that to the room you're coming from. And then here, just basic rooms right here. There's a couple of rail tunnels, mining rooms, a couple mining rooms. And then here are passageways where you're just kind of like connecting like hallways and stuff. And these right here, normally each room is going to have an encounter token you put in it, but these don't have them, so you don't put them in there. And again, this probably will make more sense if you watch a playthrough or whatnot, but so these are them. And then here are some corner ones. So they can go to the left, you go to the right. So there's a couple of these corner ones, and then here's a kind of divider there. And then, different type of divider. All right, so those are the room cards. And there's also ones for the target plateau, which is right here. Again, these are the special rooms, or if you want to do the advanced mode, they have counting cards basically put with these. So I think there's 8 of these again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yep, so 8 special rooms like that. So they're pretty basic in this core set. We'll show you more as we get into as I show you the map tiles. And then here are the regular rooms, non-special rooms. And then here are the passageways and whatnot. So basically the same thing as the other one, except with different artwork. Okay. Woo. A lot of stuff here. And we're going to sleeve all these because they are very thin cards overall. So here are the gear cards. So gear. And there's mine gear, and there's target plateau gear also. So let's see if I can get through all this gear. So it's quite a bit. And there's also, you also have starting items, personal items, sorry. So each character will have personal items. So here are just some examples of some bandages. So these are just ones you can draw when you're in the thing. Whiskey bottle, dynamite, and it basically shows what it does. So these are just for the side bag tokens, and this one is a journal pages, which give you a certain ability. Recover grit and things like that. And then, so I'm not going to go through each one of these. Sorry, it's not focusing very well. And then this one here is better. Here's like a pickaxe. So this gives you a +1 combat, so it gives you an extra combat die. And then has a special ability once per turn. When collecting Darkstone, you may collect 1 extra, so it allows you to get extra. So they give you like special abilities, some per turn or per fight or per adventure. And then here is a axe. Once per turn, you may add +2 damage to one of your combat hits, so it adds damage. So it increases your damage die, that kind of stuff. So just different things. This range 6, so this shoot enemies that are 6 away, and it gives you 2 die. So like the gunslinger only had 1 die for his ranged hit. So if you had this gun right here, which I think he starts with, you get 2 shots. You roll 2 die with this gun. And then that's basically a value, how much to sell. These right here are means it takes weight, so weight is important in this. It's your strength plus, I think, 4 or 5. So you're going to have to watch items with weight. And also, too, this means you can modify it. Like you can add a Darkstone attachment, or you can add some other type of attachment card to it. So you can modify it twice, basically is what this says. And so this pistol's a little bit better. This is actually the same kind. But this is a little bit better because it adds +1 damage. And then his flash powder and another pistol. See, this is Frontier only can use this. So you have to have a keyword Frontier, a keyword Performer. Like Saloon Girl could use this gun. This is the gun that she starts with, I believe. So not as much range or damage, but does have better critical hits. Normally critical hits are 6. This has 5 or 6. So this is a really nice hunting rifle. It only has 1 shot though, but it does do +2 damage. But it can shoot, so you can be way back and shoot from good distance in this too. And again, it is modifiable. So a lot of cool items. These are just the basic items too, so they get a lot better than this. But this is just a looking glass. I think that might be a personal item. And then here, this adds a poncho, adds a dusty poncho, adds health and sanity. And you're immune to different weather effects, because there's weather effects in the game. And this is a silver buckle. So any time you kill an enemy, you may heal 1 wound or sanity. And you have to be a lawman or a showman for this one. So there's different requirements. Cigar. Once per adventure, prevent all damage done from a single source. So yeah. There's a lot of cool items in this. Again, I'm not going to go through each one. You have duplicates of some of them. I think that's where it started right there, yep. And then you have your mine. So in the mine, you got each world card is going to have what they do. So in the mines, there's no special abilities. And then Target Plateau will have some special abilities in here. So it's got bitter cold, so frigid. And so it's different things that will happen while you're in there that you got to keep in mind. And then this is basically a void layer. So these are encounter cards. So basically different encounters. These are all encounter cards here. And so void layers. And these are just skill checks you got to pass sometimes. And then different other things you got to do. You get rewards sometimes. Or if you fail them, bad things can happen. So this gives you a choice of cunning. Actually, not a choice, but you have to do cunning and then luck. And depending upon what symbol is up here, it's either going to be for 1 hero, a random hero, 1 hero of your choice, a random hero, all the heroes. I think this is, is a random hero right there. And that is just a hero of your choice. And if it's got all 3 of them, that means all 3 of your heroes have to pass them. So let's see if I can find one that's like that. And again, some of these are pretty hard. I don't see the one that... Oh yeah, this one's all your heroes. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of hard to see. But is like other heroes, other silhouettes are here, but in lighter. So that means all heroes have to do a cunning 6 check. So, and then there's another lore check they have to do too, that one of them has to do. So yeah, so that's basically, these are encounter cards which will come up when you rebuild encounter tokens. Okay, wow. I knew this would be long, but not this long. But okay, so now there's another thing here. These are kind of like just cards which describe all the different things that you can do and basic stuff. So this is basically explains what void markers do, void venom markers, what free attacks, what that means, the different types of bullets that the lawman will use. I mean the gunslinger, sorry. And then here's how to use a 6-shooter. And another bullet that he uses. And grit, basically, which is very important in the game. And some of the side bag tokens. And then hit types, what a hit means, what a horror hit means, and what a corruption hit means. Those are the 3 types of damage in the game. And then, basically, choose 1 hero, like I said, all heroes, or select a random hero. What the symbols mean there. basically how that dynamite bounces, which I showed you before, explained to you before. Dynamite itself, what it does, how to use it. Herbs for healing, tonics for covering grit, bandage tokens for healing wounds, and then whiskey tokens for healing sanity. Oops. And here are some side bag tokens. Side bag. So each hero will get one of these. So it starts off with a 5, and then I think it can be upgraded to 7 if you get like a special skill. So side bags. So each character will get a side bag thing. And then these are the threat decks right here. So again, they just show the types of monsters. So these right here, basically, let me show you a better one than that. So this, looks like it's D3, so you roll it D6 and divide it by 2. D3 Night Terrors and 2 threat cards, so 2 low threats. These are epic. These are really hard ones. Then you have the higher ones, which are a little easier. And mediums. Just show you kind of an example of that. It's almost the same thing. Yeah, there you go. So you just get Night Terrors, T3 Night Terrors. And then some of your low threats, which is basically kind of be a Night Terror and a Peril Die of Stranglers. And then some of these are just going to be spiders and stranglers and whatnot. So it's basically all kinds of different ones. And so that is the threat deck here. And then you have your artifacts, artifacts deck. So you have for the target plateau, which is some cool stuff here. Frozen isopods, which give you benefits, but also have a chance of attacking you if you roll bad when you use them. Void crystals. So these are artifacts. These are generally cooler items. Plasma arc, type of gun. Yeah, so cool stuff, definitely. Deflection field. Gives you armor. So basically armor is something you can roll. Like say you, a creature attacked you, did someone a damage, you have a chance to defend it. And then after you defend it, if you fail any failed attempts, you can also roll and see if your armor will stop it. So you get, basically it gives you a second chance to try to defend the item. Defend the damage that was taken. So interesting items. Again, not the coolest, because some of the expansions, they really have super awesome items, artifacts and stuff. And then these are Growing Dread cards. These are ones you don't want to get. Generally, these are accumulated, and at the end of the battle in your final fight, these will be revealed. Some missions have it, so you reveal them as you go, but most of the time, these are just gonna accumulate, and at the end, they get all revealed. So, some pretty nasty stuff that can happen here. So they give a little flavor text, and then basically move the darkness, or every hero must make a single willpower save. Enemies do +1 damage on every hit. So basically they're nasty stuff. You don't want to get any of those if you can help it. And then these are just artifacts from the mine. So these are, you can get Darkstone bullets, which are good. But again, these can cause corruption on you too, so you might not want to get them. Healing Stone. Once per adventure, you heal 2d6 wounds. So this is very good to have. Different books and amulets and whatnot. Different guns. That's a pretty cool gun. That's kind of that void sword. Gloves. And different items and stuff. So pretty cool, interesting stuff here. All right. And I'm not going to go through this, but, well, actually, maybe I will. I've gone through everything else. I guess we should. So then you have your, you can scavenge in between turns, kind of, or during your turn. And you have a scavenge deck, which you'll get to know pretty well. But it's either good, bad. So basically, after your turn is over, if you're not like going entering another room, you can roll. You can scavenge if you want to. And you generally roll 3d6 die, and for every 6 you get one of these cards. So this is kind of a good thing. You get like a dark stone. This is also a good one. Draw a gear card, or if you're in another world, you get an artifact card. So these are the good ones. This is the artifact or gear, the opposite, depending upon what kind of world you're in. And then you get some, pretty good ones. 25 gold or 50 gold. D6 times 25. Different. These are the good ones. And then you have your bad, nothing to find ones. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Or you can get some bad stuff, which you have to roll. Generally, you have to roll like sanity damage, or you get attacks and stuff, horror hits or attacks. So, yeah, there could be some bad ones in here. Draw a growing dread card and add to the stack. So, you can find all kinds of different things when you scavenge. Generally, when you're starting new characters, you probably want to scavenge because they try to get money and gear, even though bad things could happen to you. And then you have your encounters for the target plateau. So each world will have its own encounter cards too. And they're right there. So again, these are just very similar to the other ones, except, they're specifically to the target plateau. But skill tests generally, that kind of stuff. Alright. And then you have your other world cards, so if you're entering the target plateau, other for enemies and stuff. So, let me show you one that's got stuff on it. So right here, depending upon how many people you have in your posse, 1 and 2 is the green. You're going to fight a peril die of ancient spiders. If you have 3 to 4 people in your posse, then you're going to get a set amount of 6 ancient spiders. And if you have 5 to 6 people in your party, then you can roll 2 peril die, which again, those are 3 to 6 you roll on each die. So it's different levels of otherworld threats and everything. And again, as you get other enemies and everything, for buying enemy packs and whatnot, you're going to add cards to this deck. Now, these are the darkness cards, which has to do with that track generally. And again, these are pretty bad things too. The artwork on these are pretty cool. But, ambush attack. All demon enemies are +1 combat. And these will stay in effect unless you can cancel them. There are ways to cancel them through gear or abilities. But generally, if these come out, they stay with you through the whole mission. So they can be pretty bad. And they can stack, too. All demon enemies are +1 combat. All void enemies are +1 combat. All void enemies are +1 combat. Ambush attack. Certain amount of tentacles. Ambush attack, draw a threat card. So, yeah, these are all bad stuff, pretty much. You don't want to get these. And then these are basically starting gear for at least. So the gunslinger is going to choose between being a quick draw, a pistol fanning, or a reload. So he's going to choose, when you create his character, you're going to choose one of these abilities right here. So basically it changes the type of character you get, which is kind of neat. Same thing with the Bandito. He's got 3 to choose from. He's got the twin guns, the expert, explosives expert, or the swindler. Saloon girl. He's got knockout punch, acrobatic dodge, or dirty fighting. This seems to be chosen in the most of the time. It helps basically all your attacks at +1 damage, so it's really good to have. And then you have your U.S. Marshal, finally. And he is either going to be a Rolling Thunder, Hardened Resolve, or cleaning up the West. I've seen this played a few times. That's a good one, too. You get +1 max grit, so you start with an extra grit. And then you can heal after you defeat enemies. And then here are the starting gear. So everybody's starting gear for each of your characters. So the lantern, which basically you have to have a lantern in every adventure, so somebody will always be the lantern holder. Light source, and then you have a marshal's badge, shotgun. So these are basically starting items for the different heroes, which I think I mentioned on the cards there. All right, and then you have your personal items, which add a little flavor to your character. So, and again, there are other card decks and packs you can get, which I have just about all of them that I could get. Basically, it's a card set of 15 cards, and you can add. It adds to each one of these decks, so it adds to the playability of the character of the card game. So this one adds +4 sanity, so that's really good. +1 initiative, so they basically give you skills and add a little story. You can put a little story behind these for each one of your characters, how they obtain these items and stuff like that, like from an old girlfriend or from their mother or from an enemy they killed or something like that. So pretty cool. And I think that was it as far as the cards go. Yep. So all right. So now, I can't believe I haven't even gotten to the maps yet. That's like the coolest part. All right. So let me get to the bottom here, and we'll go through these pretty quickly. I know this. If you're still here watching the video, then I salute you, because this is a long video. Whew, man. It's a little sweaty in the room I'm in right now, and you don't have the AC in here. So it's a little hot, even though it's at night. Oops, as I'm dropping the cards. Okay, so here we go. Alright. We'll have to smell fresh cardboard. So these are your wound tokens right here, and your sanity tokens. Side bag tokens, dynamite, whiskey, all kinds of stuff like that. And these are the wounds you're going to be putting on. And then these are basically your characters right here. So if you ever have to do like a random character, you can shuffle these up and then pick one depending on who's in your party. Or if they get knocked out kind of thing, you can use that. Yeah, so there's different other items there. Bandages and whatnot. Alright, and then you have your... So this is basically your starting mine token, so they'll start down here. And then these are just different numbers for initiative, and you can use them for all kinds of different things, 1 through 4. You can use that for randomness too. So here's your first player token, Flying Frog, with the cowboy hat. And then you have your grit tokens, your darkstone, which we do have some special darkstone crystals, which we bought. Your corruption tokens, so you get corruption. Flasks. Oh, flash powder, I think it is. And then your revive tokens, different. These are for the death tracks there. We get a specialized one of those, 3D one of those. Here are your encounter tokens. Sorry, exploration tokens, I meant. Which could be an encounter or an ambush. So different kinds of those. And here's your depth track. Again, we get a nice plastic 3D one. So we may use this a couple times before that. There you go. And then these are all going to be the rest of your tiles, pretty much. So these are pretty much your hallways and corridors and whatnot. Along with some lantern token and other things. And then when the enemies get elite abilities, you're going to put these tokens on them to show which abilities they have. Yeah, here's some more map tiles. So it's going to be a lot of organization for this game. You're going to have to organize a lot. Because there's a lot. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just one of the core boxes. There's tons of stuff, content. Just going to be a challenge. Oh, and these are the KO'd ones right here. So when your guy gets knocked out, enemies and other characters can still move you through your characters when they're knocked out on the maps and everything. So you put these out to show that they've been knocked out. And then these are end caps to put on the end caps of the exits that aren't being used, that are blocked off. And then these are some, like just some barrels you can put out if you want to. Add a little environment to it. More tokens there. And then here is one of the map tiles. And I should have, and then they have an other side to it too, which I should have done with the target. I'll show you the other side of the starting one. But this is for the target plateau ones, the snowy land and everything. And then, oh, here's your alternate characters, the alternate genders for each one. So tokens for those. And so you don't have to have the minis for them, but I ended up getting the minis for them. So, and then here's another like a ritual room kind of thing. And then here's just the map tile for that. And then some the target side of it. Whew, promise you we're almost done. And then here is when you go to another world, you're going to put these portals up. Attach the portals instead of doors. And then you have bandits that can come attack you, I guess. Void Venom. Alright, there you go. And then here's the 6-shooter for the... and you can also get a 3D resin version, which I may get one day, but that's like $30, so I don't know. But all different bullets and everything you can have. You start off with the regular bullets, and then you can upgrade them and put them in your 6-shooter. And then the back of that, some target tiles there, and the 6-shooter there. And again, target pylons right here, since I don't have the characters yet, so I have to use those whenever I go to Target and do the pylons until I get them. Which I might get them by the time I play them. We'll see. And here's the last one right here. So a couple more map tiles. And the target side right here. So anyway, so it's been a long video, almost an hour and a half. So gonna kind of, and then, oh yeah, I never showed you the other two. Which I don't know if they're, if I come, oh, here we go. And we'll show you the other two. These are a couple of bonus cards that came with the game. When I purchased them from Flying Frog Web Store, they give you a little bonus for every core set. You get a couple of free cards. So this is like a free card to go with it. It's like a promo type card. So there you go. But anyway, that is it. That is Shadows of Brimstone City of Ancients. Pretty long video. The first of many Shadows of Brimstone videos. I'm probably going to put this in its own folder, separate from the board game unboxings, just because there's so many of the Shadows of Brimstone is going to be a big part of the channel coming up, as we have a lot of time, well, a lot of money invested in it, and it looks to be a lot of fun. So, again, an Ameritrash type game, but it looks like a really fun one. So we can't wait to get this one to the table. And this one, we will actually get to the table and do some playthroughs on this. I can't wait. So as soon as we get some stuff put away, and as you can see over here, I've got like a big box to put, the fishing box here to put stuff in, and I've started to paint some minis and stuff over there. That's my dipping stuff over there. But this is going to be a lot of time invested in this game, definitely. I'm looking forward to this one. So thank you for joining me. It's been Eric from Higher Ground Gaming. Take care and God bless. And when you see you in the next Shadows of Brimstone unboxing, which is probably going to be the Swamp of Sorrows there, or Swamp of Death. I always get that one mixed up. But we'll be doing the second core set next. And then we'll probably do the Forbidden Fortress core set after that. And then we'll get into all the little boxes and expansions and everything else. So thank you for joining me. Take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.